everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanna, and this is Joanna Budgets, but we're not doing budgeting right now. This is the update for the tragedy that my family was involved in February, on February 17th of 2024. First thing I wanted to say, a few of you had sent some super thanks to, give us a hand up or our little helping hand or whatever. And I just wanted to say thank you immensely for your generosity, your love, your care. It means the world to me, and I greatly appreciate it. We've decided that any monies that come from super thanks will actually go towards taking care of this puppy, because I believe that he will probably be with us for the remainder of his life. So any and all funds that are collected through super thanks from these videos will most definitely be to buy dog food and get his neuter, his shots, training if it needs be. He's a Cane Corso Pit Bull Catahoula mix, supposedly. I think I want to do a DNA test when I can afford it so I can figure out exactly what he is, because that kind of helps, with training and things like that. So I just wanted to give you a heartfelt thank you for that. It means the world to me. And anybody that ever wants to give a super thanks, just know that I'm not asking for money with any of these videos. The intent for these videos is not to gain monetary fame. I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for, but it's not meant to gain money or anything like that. It's just a way for me to heal. Talking to people that empathize and, the people that have been there for me the last few months and, that kind of thing. It just feels good. It feels like I'm talking to really good friends. So it helps me heal to talk to you guys, and I appreciate that you listen. So last week we went to the arraignment on Wednesday. The defendant had not obtained counsel, and he did not want a public defender. So, the arraignment was postponed for 1 week, which was, postponed until this past Wednesday, which was the 6th, March 6th. We have been attending these arraignments and anything court related as much as we can, because it shows the victim was human, if you will. Plus, we're all victims in the situation, in all honesty. So, and you'll understand more when I've said that I'm a victim, as this story progresses. I will not discuss anything that is not on a court document, in the press, or public knowledge. So I sometimes feel like I'm beating around the bush and leaving you guys with cliffhangers. It isn't, it is intentional, but it's not really meant to be dramatic or cliffhanger or anything. It's just because I don't want to share information that could ruin the case for my brother-in-law who lost his life in this tragedy. I'm going to the that's page 1, page 2. I'm not doing anything against what we've been told. We are not really to discuss anything. I do know that I can discuss anything and everything that is public knowledge. That is all I can discuss. So then next week, we will have the bond or the bail hearing. We're hoping he does not get out on bond. We're hoping that they hold him in the jail until until everything is said and done, because none of us feel safe if he were to get out. So that's where we're at. So next week will be the bond, and I'll have another update, but I'm going to read this file. This is the indictment, case number 24CR78, the State of Ohio, Scioto County, SS. Scioto County Court of Common Pleas, General Division. Of the January term, the jurors of the grand jury of the State of Ohio within and for the body of the county aforesaid on their oaths in the name and by the authority of the State of Ohio do find and present that Count 1, aggravated murder UF, on or about February 17, 2024, at Scioto County, Ohio, John Moore unlawfully did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of Joseph Morris. Specification 1 to Count 1. The jurors of the grand jury further find and specifies, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, that John Moore had a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense, and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated that he possessed the firearm, or used it to facilitate the offense. In violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.01A, 2929.02A, and against the peace and dignity of the State of Ohio. Count 2, murder, UF. I'm not sure what the UF stands for behind that. On or about February 17, 2024, at Scioto County, Ohio, John Moore unlawfully did purposely cause the death of Joseph Moore. Specification 1 to Count 2, 2941.145A. The jurors of the grand jury further find and specify, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, that John Moore had a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense, and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated that he possessed the firearm, or used it to facilitate the offense. In violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.02A, 2903.02D, 2929.02B, and against the peace and dignity of the State of Ohio. Count 3, murder UF. I don't know what the UF means. On or about February 17, 2024, in Scioto County, Ohio, John Moore unlawfully did cause the death of John Morris as a proximate result of the offender committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence that is a felony of the first or second degree, to wit, felonious assault. 2903.11A 2 something, I don't know. Specification 1 to Count 3, 2941.145A. The jurors of the grand jury further find and specify, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, that John Moore had a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense, and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated that he possessed the firearm, or used it to facilitate the offense. In violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.02B, 2903.02D, 2929.02b, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. Count for felonious assault F2. On or about February 17, 2024, at Scioto County, Ohio, John Moore unlawfully did knowingly cause or attempt to cause physical harm to Joseph Morris by means of a deadly weapon or dangerous ordinance, to wit, a shotgun. Specification 1 to count for 2941.145a. The jurors of the grand jury further find and specify, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, that John Moore had a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense, and displayed the firearm, brandished the firearm, indicated that he possessed the firearm, or used it to facilitate the offense. In Ohio violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.11a, 2, 2903.11d1a, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. Count 5. Having weapons while under disability F3. On or about February 17, 2024, at Scioto County, Ohio, John Moore unlawfully did knowingly acquire, have, carry, or use a firearm or dangerous ordinance, and the person is drug dependent, in danger of drug dependence, or a chronic alcoholic. In violation of Ohio Revised Code 2923.13a4, 2923.13b, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. And then you've got the prosecuting attorney's signature and a true bill. This bill of indictment found upon testimony sworn and sent before the grand jury at the request of the prosecuting attorney. Another signature. The state of Ohio, Scioto County, I, the undersigned clerk of the Court of Common Pleas in and for said county, do hereby certify that the foregoing is a full, true, and correct copy of the original indictment, with the endorsements thereon now on file in my office. And then more signatures. So that was the indictment. And then oof, that was aggressive swallowing. And then this is another court document that is public, in the public domain. Anyone can look these up. I don't know how to look them up. My niece sent them to me. I have no knowledge of crime and investigation and things like that. So I am just sharing the information that I have on hand. But if you get curious, you can probably Google a whole bunch and find a whole bunch if you know what you're doing. I do not. So I am not a crime investigator by any stretch of the means. So this one is in the Court of Common Pleas, Scioto County, Ohio, General Division. State of Ohio, case number 24CR00078. Plaintiff versus John Moore. Oh, okay. State of Ohio is the plaintiff versus John Moore, defendant. Motion to deny bond. Now comes the state of Ohio by and through the Scioto County prosecuting attorney to respectfully request this count deny bond. The basis for said request is set forth fully in the attached memorandum. The state of Ohio herein respectfully requests this court deny bond. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 2937.222, upon the motion of the prosecuting attorney or on the judge's own motion, the judge shall hold a hearing to determine whether an accused person charged with a felony of the first or second degree shall be denied bail. The statute provides that the rules concerning admissibility of evidence in criminal trials do not apply to the presentation and consideration of information at the hearing. Evid R. 102C3 reiterates that proceedings with respect to release on bail or otherwise are excluded from application of the Ohio Rules of Evidence. No person shall be denied bail unless the judge finds by clear and convincing evidence that the proof is evident or the presumption great that the accused committed the offense, that the accused possesses a substantial risk of serious physical harm to any person or to the community, that no release conditions will reasonably assure the safety of a person or the community. The court shall consider all available information regarding all of the following: the nature and circumstances of the offense charged, including whether the offense is an offense of violence or involves alcohol or a drug of abuse, the weight of the evidence against the accused, the history and characteristics of the accused, including but not limited to both of the following: A, the character, physical and mental condition, family ties, employment, financial resources, length of residence in the community, community ties, past conduct, history relating to drug or alcohol abuse, and criminal history of the accused. Whether at the time of the current alleged offense or at the time of the arrest of the accused was on probation, parole, post-release control, or other release pending trial sentencing, appeal, or completion of sentence for the commission of an offense under the laws of this state, another state, or the United States, or under municipal ordinance. The nature and seriousness of the danger to any person or the community that would be possessed by the person's release. The state notes that the defendant, John Moore, is indicted on a variety of charges, including aggravated murder with a firearm specification arising from his act of shooting the victim, Joseph Morris, following what the state of Ohio submits was prior calculation and design at residence located at, I'm not going to give that, in South Webster, Ohio. I mean, it's public knowledge. You can look it up, but I'm just not going to throw it out there. Ohio, on February 17, 2024. The state of Ohio submits that the facts to be presented will demonstrate that the insane case involves the defendant firing a shotgun, or the instant case involves the defendant firing a shotgun directly at the victim, causing fatal injuries after the victim had traveled to the residence to assist his daughter in removing her and her children's belongings. The state submits that evidence will demonstrate the defendant had more statements demonstrating his clear intent to kill prior to the act in question, and that no legitimate self-defense arguments exist in this matter, despite the defendant's self-serving statements to the contrary. Most concerning to the state is in support of the instant motion is that a significant number of the victim's family was at the scene and were witnesses to the murder. The state submits that approximately 6 adults had come with the victim's daughter to help her move the aforementioned belongings, and a number of young children were present as well. The state has grave concerns for the well-being of these individuals should the defendant be released on bond. Prior to the day in question, the state notes that the defendant was involved in a domestic dispute with his live-in girlfriend, resulting in the involvement of law enforcement. The state submits that the defendant was physically aggressive towards his then girlfriend in that incident. Defendant has been convicted of alcohol-related offenses in the past, and the state submits that he continues to have a significant alcohol abuse problem, which has not been properly addressed. The defendant possesses a significant risk to the safety, to the family of the victims, and the community as a whole should he be released on bail. The state submits that competent and compelling evidence exists which demonstrates the defendant's guilt on the indicted charges. The state of Ohio finally submits that there are no release conditions that will assure the safety of the community, that therefore this defendant should be denied bond. And then signatures at the bottom. And then Certificate of service. I hereby certify that a copy of the foregoing was provided to Rick Nash, attorney for defendant, via email delivery this 27th day of February 2024. So there are the documents that I can show you or tell you about. More importantly, I'm sure you're going to ask questions as to why there were children there that day. And why so many adults. Okay. That's what we do. When one of our family members needs help, we rally together and we help. We all have pickup trucks or giant SUVs. And she's got 4 children and herself that she needed to get all of their stuff out of the home for. So we just went with our pickup trucks and SUVs. It was snowing that day. That's why I was there. I had an SUV, which is enclosed, and everybody else had a pickup truck. So I figured if I go, if it's snowing and there were things that she didn't want to get wet, she could just put them in the back of my SUV. I'm sure you can guess who was in tow. My husband wasn't there that day. And the only message that I could get to him that day was, Joe's been shot. We didn't have signal. We didn't have phone service. It would just kind of come and go. And I had the Yukon, so I didn't have my SOS button. So I couldn't. I was helpless. There's so many things that I want to say, to explain. And I'm sure there's going to be some people in the comments like, why would you bring children to a gunfight? I didn't have a gun. I didn't go there to shoot anybody. I just went there because I love my niece and I wanted to help. That's all it was. I wasn't armed. I wasn't a threat. The kids weren't a threat. Puppy wasn't a threat. And so many things that I want to say to prove our case, but I can't. We're all struggling. All of us that were there, and I'm not going to tell you everybody that was there until it's public knowledge. We're all struggling, not just from what we witnessed that day, but we're struggling because there are people out there running these made up stories and telling these lies and defaming my niece and my brother-in-law. And it's not fair because we can't tell our story. We can't tell our truth yet. We can't. We just can't. Because if we do, it could turn around and hurt the case because, it could get twisted. It could just be, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard. So if you want to learn more, you can Google it. You can listen. If you find this person on TikTok, they're also on YouTube. If you find this person, please know that she's only telling one half of the story, his half. And a lot of the things that she is saying are completely and totally inaccurate. And it's really disheartening. It really is. We fear for our lives. In all honesty, if he were to get out, we fear. And I'm also fearful for what his family could do. I moved here so that I could live in a world where I didn't have to worry about the sliding glass doors being locked in the backyard, or, worried about having the little stick in the back in the door, to keep it from opening if the lock failed. I moved here to live in a world where I didn't have to worry about the front door always being locked. I moved here to a world where I thought I wouldn't have to be a prisoner in my home. And now I am. I'm afraid to go out alone. I'm afraid to go into Walmart. I'm afraid to drive down the road. We were terrified that we were going to get followed yesterday from the courthouse. I don't know what these people are going to do. I've seen what they're willing to do on social media. I've seen the things that they've said on social media. I'm afraid. I'm mostly afraid for my niece. Because that's where they'll go first. And she has 4 little kids. So, as I get updates, I'll give you updates. I can, like I've said many times, I can only give you information that's public knowledge. I cannot share my story. I cannot share anyone's story. When it's all over, we'll talk about it. Maybe I'll do a live and we'll talk about it, and we'll tell you everything that happened in that 24-hour period. But I can't do anything yet. It could be months. It could be a year. I don't know. I've never been in something like this, so I have no idea how long a trial like this is going to take. I just know that it's already gone on too long. And we are not going to fully heal until it's completely over and we can finally just try to put it behind us. I wasn't extremely close with my brother-in-law. He and my sister had been estranged. He'd moved on. She moved on. They, so I hadn't seen him a lot. He was a presence in my life for almost 20 years. He was the uncle to my children, the father to my niece and my nephews. And I'm thankful for that day that he saved so many lives with his actions. And I'm thankful that when we first got there, I got out of the car and walked right over to him and gave him a big hug, and I said, "Well, hello, my big brother." I'm older, so technically he would be a little brother, but he was a big dude. I'm thankful for that moment. For the first couple of weeks, the only thing I could see was him lying there on the ground, and now all I see is his joy on his face for seeing family members that he hadn't seen in a few months. How he was so proud of this puppy that he had gotten his boys. That's what I remember now. So I'm thankful for that moment that I had that day. I hope I didn't say too much. But anyway, thank you for everyone's support and well wishes and prayers. Just if you can keep praying for us, or positive vibes, or it at this point, I don't care what your practices are. Practice them for me, for my whole family, because we need it. We need it. So thank you. Thank you for being there for me. I appreciate that the most, that you guys are there for me. In time, you'll learn all of it. And I'm just thankful that I have you all for support. I was supposed to actually start counseling yesterday, and for some reason or another, the appointment didn't actually get made. So, I feel like I'm crying glitter. I've been using glitter. Anyway, the appointment never got actually made, even though I physically watched her pretend to, do it in the computer or whatever. But it is next Wednesday. I don't know what time. So I may or not be able to be there at the bond hearing, depending on the time of it. But I have to go. I can't keep skipping it. So I might not be able to go to the next. But I can still give you updates, because I'll get updates from the family members that are going. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of the new subbies. I don't know why they're here, if they were here because of the tragedy that's happening and they want to keep track of it. Thank you. I know some people keep coming and going and subscribing and unsubscribing, and so if you're still here, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me through the tragedy. I am not going to be doing my budgeting for for at least 2 months. But Hayden's still budgeting, and the boys will be budgeting when they start back at work. So you will still get budgeting and cash stuffing and stuff like that. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers, your well wishes, your chants and positive vibes, and whatever you do, whatever you practice. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things. You know I gotta throw that in there. Bye, guys.